The House returns from its August recess today. One of the top priorities on the agenda, President Biden's infrastructure plan. The Senate approved the bipartisan $1 trillion bill earlier this month. On Saturday, Speaker Nancy Pelosi sent a letter to fellow Democrats, setting October 1st as the target date to pass the legislation. Here to discuss it is Nicholas Wu. He's a reporter for Politico, covering Congress. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you doing?
All right, so what is the latest on this infrastructure bill that we have been talking about for just months now? Where do we stand? Can you get us up to date?
Well, we're kind of at an impasse right now. The House is set to take this key procedural vote as soon as tonight on the infrastructure package and Democrats' the bigger social spending budget blueprint. But the problem is we have this group of 9 centrist Democrats who don't want any action on this bigger social spending plan unless the bipartisan plan is taken up and passed now. Progressives, on the other hand, want the two linked together and moving at the exact same time. And so what Speaker Pelosi has done this week is basically teed up these votes to try to dare moderates to oppose the social spending plan. And we'll really see what happens over the next 48 hours or so as the House comes back and members are really forced to actually put their votes out there.
Do we have any kind of idea? You know, they're essentially playing legislative chicken. Which side is going to flinch first?
Basically, that's exactly what's happening. And the tricky thing is, I mean, if the bipartisan plan were to come up right now for a vote, it might fail because progressives en masse have said that they would vote against it if the social spending plan were not brought up at the exact same time. And so, yeah, eventually someone's going to have to give here, and we'll see what happens.
All right, so Speaker Pelosi has set this October 1st deadline for trying to get this giant infrastructure plan passed. Is it likely that the House will pass the bill by then, and what hurdles does it still face?
It's definitely possible. I mean, October would be the beginning of the new fiscal year, which, you know, if they try to do anything past then, this could introduce a whole other set of complications for the social spending plan. The hard part for the House is going to be actually counting the votes and seeing what they can do to pass this. It might be something that requires Republican support, and there could be a number of moderate House Republicans who decide to support, at the very least, the bipartisan plan, if not the larger social spending plan.
Now, we're hearing that Speaker Pelosi could hold a procedural vote, which is, you know, kind of these test balloon votes, as soon as today to try to move forward with a handful of Democratic priorities, including the infrastructure bill. If that happens, what does it tell us? Does it give us any kind of indication of the future and where this is going to go?
It could certainly provide a preview of how things might stand. I mean, if all 9 of these centrist Democrats, for example, vote to advance this procedural motion, this could be a sign of how they could come down on final passage. But we do see on votes like these, some people trying to split the difference on the vote by saying that, you know, they might support the procedural vote to advance and begin debate and eventually bring something up for floor consideration, but oppose it in the very end.
Now, how does the crisis in Afghanistan and does the crisis in Afghanistan impact President Biden's infrastructure bill and his agenda going forward? Is it going to hurt his influence with Congress? Is it going to hurt his ability to get things done?
Well, in the past week or so, we've certainly seen this bipartisan uproar from members of Congress about how Biden's handling of the withdrawal from Afghanistan has gone. We've seen criticism from both sides of the aisle, calls to speed up evacuations, expand the American troop perimeter around the Kabul airport, and so on. But as far as infrastructure goes, I mean, what we're seeing right now is a pivot almost to what the Biden administration would have liked to talk about more than Afghanistan. They want to talk about infrastructure. They want to talk about the social spending package, these pillars of the Biden agenda, much more than they would want to see anything about this chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan. And so it doesn't appear to have hurt the Biden administration standing with members of Congress too much, at least as far as the infrastructure package is concerned. But moving forward, I mean, this could really have some consequences for the amount of political capital that they can spend on other major agenda issues.
All right, we'll have to wait and see. Nicholas Wu, thank you very much.